What's up, you guys? I want to have a little discussion because do you remember when 45/47 ran the first time? And he said a little line, something along the lines of, "What the hell do you have to lose when it came to the so called black vote?" Well, in present day, black folks have lost a lot under 45/47. So we had all of these black folks, and it's not a lot of them, but yeah, there were these people that were out there supporting Trump, saying blacks for Trump at the rallies, and it just looked like a few specks in a crowd. But anyway, I want to talk about that and the ones that actually work for him, that got positions in his cabinet, that actually benefited in proximity to him, not the people who have been grifting online, getting an audience and utilizing that to make money. And, a lot of them have gotten fired, some have been sued and silenced. So I want to get into it and let's just be beautifully honest about it. What's up? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into the politics and BS.
We need a president who will unite our country. We need Donald Trump.
U.S. Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina endorsing Donald Trump just last year. But let's fast forward to this year. Not even 3 months into this administration, the Commerce Department's Minority Business Development Agency was cut. This was a program supported by and invested heavily in by Senator Scott. Cut. Next, we have Virginia Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears. Now, this is the same woman who has said that Brown versus Board of Education was about parental choice and not segregation. She said that DEI is nonsense. She said that we just need to move on from slavery. And she said someone who is fired for being gay from a job is not discrimination. This woman stood on the stage last year and endorsed Trump heavily. Now she's running for governor of Virginia. And not only has he not campaigned for her, but he hasn't fully endorsed her.
And she lost.
And that election is tomorrow. So, yeah. Then we go to Texas, where current U.S. Congressman Wesley Hunt had this to say when asked about how he feels about the current Republican agenda.
Quite frankly, I can't think of one thing that he has done that I disagree with. I'm actually very, very proud of these efforts. I'm actually very proud that I helped get him elected. I was proud to be the first to endorse him in this country.
Well, it looks like Republican leadership disagrees with some things that he's doing, because he's currently running for U.S. Senator in Texas, and the National Republican Senatorial Committee is allegedly telling people not to support his candidacy, calling it a wasteful vanity project. Then we go to the 21% of black men and the 7% of black women who voted for Trump in the 2024 election. Fast forward to today. Black unemployment is reaching historic highs. A federal judge literally had to rule for Trump to use funds so people could eat. And he loves blacks so much that out of his entire cabinet, there is only one black person. And that black person went to Capitol Hill, sat in front of Congress, and proposed drastic cuts to rental assistance, affordable housing, and community development.
It's like, how wicked can you be? Seriously, it's just disgusting.
So to all of the black people that voted for this current occupant of the White House, I have one question for you, and it's very simple. How's your vote working out for you now?
Child, let me tell you, the I just felt like this was so appropriate, especially now, because after the blue wave that hit yesterday, and listen, y'all better stay woke, you better stay on your tippy toes, you better make sure that you are registered and you have all of your T's crossed and your I's dotted when the midterms come up next year. Because trust and believe, this fool, he's on ready to try to shut some crap down, but he can't stop everybody. He can't. And I believe that this proves it. So to see just a few examples of the people that supported him, but it didn't work out for them in the long run. I felt like, you know, these so called blacks for Trump and a lot of the people who claimed that they were either not for Trump, but they weren't for Kamala either, not to keep rewinding, but we have to talk about this. A lot of those people were out there speaking negatively about her. Some are still doing it to this day or calling it the Democratic plantation or whatever. But yet, are you in the house? You may not want to be out in the field, but are you in the house? Are you a house nigga? I'm sorry to put it like that, but seriously, are you a house nigger? Because it's clearly not really working out for them either.
And even a week into his presidency, back in January 2025, the occupant of the White House fired Gwen Wilcox, the first Black woman to serve on the National Labor Relations Board. Prior to getting fired, she ended up becoming chair of that board. Well, after she was fired, she was replaced as chair by Republican Marvin E. Kaplan. The following month, February 2025, the occupant of the White House fired General C.Q. Brown Jr. from his role as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He was only the second Black person to hold that role. He replaced him with retired Air Force Lieutenant General Dan Kane, who hadn't served as a four-star general or admiral. In fact, they had to promote him to four-star and get a waiver signed by the president right before his Senate confirmation so he could legally qualify for the job. In April 2025, Politico reported that the White House asked Willie Phillips, the Black chairman of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, to step down, and he did. He was later replaced by David Lassert, a Trump ally with no prior FERC experience.
Pause it for a moment. Remember, what the hell do you have to lose? A lot of jobs. Why was he getting rid of all of these black people who had been in these positions for years, mind you, and qualified? All of the bullcrap they talked about, DEI, all of these people getting these jobs because of DEI. No, what diversity, equity, and inclusion, which actually worked out better for white women than it did for minority ethnicities. But being a female is considered to be a minority. So it gave them the opportunities to be considered, not just giving them the jobs because they were black people. So all of these black faces that you see here getting fired or being asked to step down, why were they being replaced with white people? So him saying, what the hell do you have to lose? A lot of jobs.
A month after that, in May, Alvin Brown, the former Jacksonville mayor who was serving as the vice chair of the National Transportation Safety Board, was removed. The administration wants to replace him with John DeLue, an American Airlines pilot and safety official. That same month, Dr. Carla Hayden, the first Black person and first woman to serve as Librarian of Congress, was fired. The White House named Todd Blanche as the acting librarian. But Deputy Librarian Robert Newland, who by library rule would take over, also claims the role. So as of now, they're both listed as acting in a disputed position. It's important to note that Todd Blanche has no public background in library science, archival management, cataloging, or managing a major cultural institution. Then in August, Robert Primus, one of the last Black members of the Surface Transportation Board, fired, and there's still no permanent replacement for his role. That same month, the White House moved to fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, the first Black woman to serve on the Federal Reserve's Board of Governors. But because of a decision by the Supreme Court, she still has her job. Then, if you look at this administration's cabinet, there's only one Black person, Scott Turner. Guess what role he has? Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Since the start of this administration, over 300,000 Black women have either been laid off or pushed out of their jobs. Everything I just mentioned, it's not my opinion. These are facts. This is real life. And as you've heard these facts laid out, what do you see?
Yeah. And it's disgusting what I see. What has been happening is these so called, well, not even so called, but these people who were out here talking about Kamala is not a black woman. She ain't black. She ain't this. She ain't that. She's a Democrat. She put all these people in prison. All the things that they were saying, focusing on things that, one, they were being twisted and turned to make it into something that it really wasn't. And I'm just like over that. Like I said, it's the past, but we have to talk about it. Those who don't remember the history, even though we know a lot of these MAGA people have been working to wipe away history, but if you forget it, you're doomed to repeat it. So we have to keep talking about it. They were encouraging people to not vote or not vote for her if they were going to vote. And it's just disgusting when you see these things, but yet those same people who were doing that, they're not out here speaking like this gentleman is speaking, calling out what has been going on. But I'm glad some people have been seeing it. And I'm not saying that everyone that went out there and voted yesterday, they did it because of this specifically, but all of the things that have been going on, it is now time to turn the tables and let's just keep it going. I'm so happy that so many people had the opportunity to just get out there and show that this is not the way that they want things to be going, and the man that is in that office right now is a liar. He's a convicted felon, and a lot of other things that I'm not even going to get into right now. But when I see how this has affected so many Black people, it just really makes me angry. And that's one of the reasons why I felt so good when I saw, what happened on yesterday. So, with that being said, Blacks for Trump, they just want proximity to power, and they were used as mascots for the political messaging to show, see, these are my blacks right here. They're for me. So why don't you, why don't you join in and vote for me too? And vote for the ones that I endorse. And it's like, no, people do not want, for the most part, the majority do not want the country to continue to go in the way that it has been going. Because how does it serve the greater good of the nation to get all of these people fired from their jobs, losing income, having to find other opportunities or ways and means to make the money that they were making before? And we know the government is not keen on giving out handouts. So, like, how does it serve the greater good of the nation that you get rid of all these people's positions where they were actually working, contributing, paying taxes, leaning into the capitalist society where they're having to purchase things so it could be a part of the cycle of spending, because we know that this country is all about consumerism, right? It just isn't. I don't understand that. But yet you don't want to give people food stamps. You don't want them to be on welfare. You don't want to give out these, what they call entitlements, these government handouts, but you are getting rid of people from their jobs and just giving the positions to white men that really don't deserve the positions. You saw it. You saw some of the examples. So I want to know what you guys think about this, because I feel like it's an important subject to talk about. And it was one of the things that was bothering me when it came to this administration, and how these raccoons out here were talking about they're not voting for her and they're not for her and they're not doing this and they're not doing that, and they're voting for him, and voted for him 3 times and were proud to do it. Like you saw, the one guy said he was proud to be one of the first people, not one of the first Black people. He said one of the first people to endorse him. And then when he wanted to run, they said, don't even bother because we're not going to support you. Don't waste your time. It's a trip. But anyway, let me know what you think about the so-called blacks for 45/47 and the ones that have been fired by 45/47, and the ones that were out here saying, we need Donald Trump. Tim Scott with his raccoon. Oh my God. I can't stand that guy. Didn't even get a cabinet position, and the office or the initiative that he stood for they got rid of it. No respect. No respect at all. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.